You've been very naughty. You have not been easy. And we're going to talk about it today.
Hey everyone, it's been a week because I had another painting fight me. Does that happen to you? It happens to me. And I want to share with you this week some of the things that I learned or relearned or just remembered that I thought I could really share this and this might really help somebody. So I was painting this painting and I'm very happy with the very end result. But in the middle of the painting process, I panicked and I really thought that this was going nowhere. Sorry, kitty. Sorry to have that in your face. So I just wondered if this ever happened to you all. Do you ever start a painting and you're convinced that it's going to be beautiful? You have this beautiful reference. By the way, thank you, Karen Brummelsick, for this beautiful reference. Karen is a professional photographer of horses. Go check her out. She's on Facebook and she does gorgeous work. So I slept on it and I realized what it needed. And it's one of the basic foundational key concepts to good painting design that I used. So in today's tutorial, I'm going to take you through this painting quickly from beginning to end and share some of the painting process, but also the key to what helped me take this painting from meh to la, and how it can possibly help you if you are a beginner or if you're even a more experienced painter. So let's go ahead and get started. This is the beginning of the painting and I've gotten everything wet. And then I'm using my new mix of synthetic black. It's a specific mix that I use to get a really nice dark but interesting black. And I wait for the paint to dry a little bit and then I splash water and then I drop some salt. Timing is key for using these cauliflowering effects, and I explain that more in the video I just told you about. But that's how I created the dapples in this horse's coat. And you can learn about that more in last week's video where I talked about how to use cauliflowers and how to time your painting so you get the best cauliflowers possible. I was using my typical technique of painting an eye where the top is lighter and then there's a super dark and then a light at the bottom of the eye. And that is just something I do with almost every eye, no matter if it's a cat eye, a human eye, or a horse's eye. And then I make sure that the eyeliner is really dark. And that's another key to success to painting eyes, no matter what animal or species you're painting. Another concept that I've talked about in past tutorials is painting the shapes and the shadow shapes, and I certainly had to do that here, especially in the horse's face. There were really strong shadow shapes, so be sure to check out my video that I created about shadow shapes. I will link that up here. Here I'm getting my synthetic black mix. It's a mix of Daniel Smith Indian Throne Blue, Daniel Smith Permanent Brown, and Phthalo Green. And I learned about that on handprint.com, and I talked about all that at length last week and I think in the week before tutorial 2. It's my new mix for black that I've been playing with, and the reason why I like it is that it cauliflowers so well. The downfall to this particular mix is it's also staining, so it doesn't work with my scrubber techniques as well. I've made a video about scrubbing too. I will link that here. I will link them below in the description where there's a lot of other really interesting things too. So be sure to check out my description for links to art supplies, all my favorite art supplies and other art goodies. All right, another favorite technique that I did in this painting was with the mane. I decided very last minute to paint this mane by lifting out paint while it was still wet. Okay, here we are at the stage where I was kind of panicking. I was like, this is looking okay, but it's not looking amazing. And I realized what it needed. By the way, if you would like to learn more in depth from me, you can join my Patreon or my YouTube membership, or you can buy individual tutorials. And in the month of October for my Patreon, you can join if you join for a whole year, you get 2 months free and you get access to my full library from over almost 3 years of painting now that I've really been doing tutorials. And each of those tutorials are a video footage of the painting process from the beginning of the painting to the very end with me explaining as I go. And you get a downloadable, traceable, or line drawing, a reference photo, and a supply list. And I, unlike some instructors, allow you to sell your originals. I just ask that you don't sell your prints, but you may sell your originals. And I just ask that you tag me whenever you paint from one of my tutorials. And I really appreciate that. And I appreciate all of you. Thank you to my Patreon members who make this channel possible. I couldn't do this without you. And you all are making my dream of being an artist and making a living that I can depend on and take care of my son with a reality. And that means everything to me. And here's the key to this week's video is having super darks in your painting to really pop everything out. Look how when I paint this deep dark Daniel Smith lamp black, which is one of the darkest blacks that I've ever found that doesn't have too much of a drying shift. Kitty, you are totally adorable. Thank you for being you. And anyway, so when I applied this Daniel Smith lamp black, I feel like this was the turning point in my painting where it really started popping. One, because that black has no color other than black in it, and that was a contrast to the blues and the reds and the purples that I had in the horse's coat. So that provided a contrast. But the key foundational concept I want you guys to get from this tutorial is make sure you have your deep, darkest darks popped out as much as possible and make sure they're in your painting. Make sure you get those darks in. They're scary, but they're so necessary. 9 times out of 10, every painting needs them to really make everything else pop. So make sure you're getting your deep, dark darks in your painting. And furthermore, a lot of artists will say this, a lot of teachers, you've probably heard this time and time again, values how dark or light something is way more important than the colors or almost anything, any other design element in your painting. The most important design element in your painting is to get your values correct. Your lights light, your whites super white, your mediums, your darks. And so what I had to do to figure this out was I took a picture of this painting at the stage where I started to panic. I'm like, what is wrong with this? I don't even know. I took a picture, put it in grayscale in Photoshop, and I also put the reference photo in grayscale. And then I was able to more clearly see the values and see where I needed to deepen values and see where I needed to leave things light, and that really helped. So, but the key thing I think in this painting that really helped pop it was putting that super dark Daniel Smith lamp black in the background. 2 reasons. Mainly because it's a super dark. Daniel Smith has less of a drying shift than most blacks. What is a drying shift? A drying shift in watercolor, at least, is when your paint dries, it becomes lighter and grayer. And most blacks on the market have a big drying shift. Daniel Smith has the least drying shift I've found, including the inks and other formulations of black. Lamp black is the best I found. And so that was key to the success of painting this background really dark around the horse. You will notice that I left some parts of the background lighter and there's more of a gradient, which gradients make things interesting too. So the values that I used, and I darkened a lot of the dappling in the horse in the second phase of this painting, and that is what really helped me make this painting have more of a wow factor. So if you as an artist are working on a painting and it just looks blah, look at your values. Take a picture, put it in grayscale, put your reference in grayscale and compare the two. Squint your eyes so you just see the shapes in the painting and in the design instead of individual little elements, and see how it all hangs together. Another thing that can really help with your painting is to sleep on it. Another thing that I do is upload it to a forum like on Facebook or Reddit and let other people give me their feedback of what they think it needs. All those things can be really helpful. But the key thing I want you to come away with from today's tutorial is to get those darks really dark, because it will create contrast in your painting to really make your painting pop. So I hope that was helpful, and thank you so much for joining me in today's tutorial. I had a blast figuring out this painting Painting is really just a series of figuring out problems and solving problems. So keep learning. Thank you so much. And I will see you in the next tutorial. So be sure to subscribe and go watercolor your world. Bye, everybody.
And today's tutorial, Rachel Jazz. That's Rachel Jazz. It's not really pretty though.